some bubble magic. You like magic? Good. I'm glad to hear that. We're going to show you how to do it yourselves. What's this? A bubble wand, right? It makes bubbles. Now this is the new one everybody's selling. $2 at the Dollar General store. When I went there, I thought everything was pretty much $1. I guess they should call it the $2 store, right? That's right. But this thing works just fine. But take a look at the old one. It's a lot bigger with a lot more plastic, and this cost $1. So now you pay twice as much for half the product. That's the American way, it seems like nowadays. Isn't that right, parents? Every time you go shopping, it seems like the boxes are a little thinner, all that sort of thing. Even ice cream, a half gallon is now about 1.5 quarts. But that's just strange. We'll set that over there because I wanted to demonstrate this thing here. What's that in the center? A flower. What kind of flower? Sunflower. Very good. You know, a sunflower is the Kansas state flower, right? Yeah, you can see them all over the state. Sometimes they just grow wild, just as some gardeners. But other times you actually have to put some seed in the ground. How many of you like to eat sunflower seeds? Yeah, they're usually nestled in this little thing in the center of the sunflower. Now this thing here works pretty well. I paid $1 for it. I want to make sure you see it. Here's some out there in the second row. Way up there. Make sure you catch them, boys and girls. Be careful not to step on anybody, okay? All right, now boys and girls. This thing works pretty well. But boys and girls, you can have a seat on your bottoms again. Thank you. That way children behind you can see. Here's the deal. I joined a club way back in 1993. Wow, that's a long time ago. And when I joined that club, they were a group of wizards. We call ourselves the Wizards of Wichita. And the thing is, those folks told me how to do good magic. And they said, if you're going to do magic, Ron, make sure you always control everything about your illusion. Because if you don't, your trick's going to fail on you. So what I decided to do, hard to control a dozen or 3 dozen bubbles floating through the air at once. So I removed what? The flower out of the center. So now I can produce one bubble at a time, which means I should have a little more control over my illusion. Now, how do I make this thing work? Oh, there you go. I was going to say wave my hand over it, but no, dipping it in is exactly what I need to do. I also need to get extremely bubble friendly because we're going to do, hopefully, some great bubble magic. Let's make a bubble. Let me take my hand and slide it in. Wow, I could wave at you children for 3 seconds. Let me reach in and pull one out of thin air. That's more fun. Let's see if I can fill it up. Whoops. There we go. Got another one. Boy, those onions are vicious today. I'm not kidding you. Oh, look at that. Let's get rid of that. Look at that, boys and girls. It's a bulging eyeball. Let me get this one. Reach in, pull the bubbles. Send it out there and see if it'll bounce. Perhaps we could put it in a bubble. Or make it into jungle. Let's see if it'll bounce. No, it disappeared. That was my disappearing bubble act, boys and girls. I got pretty good at that. Now, I'll tell you what. This is all well and good. It's fun to make, bubble makers out of toys that are already made for bubble making. But how about things that are not made for bubble making? How about if we just use our imagination and take one of these? That's right, this is a hanger, boys and girls. And what shape is the hanger almost?
Triangle.
Triangle, right? Most hangers are triangle shaped. This one has a little blip on it here, which turns it into a trapezoid. But, you know, what we're going to do is we're going to try an experiment. I'm going to try and make this into a magic wand. How do I do that? Dip it in the slime. Very good. Now, once it's in the slime and it's all bubble friendly and I pull it out, I should be able to make a bubble. What shape will the bubble come out? Triangle. It's obvious, isn't it? It's a triangle-shaped bubble maker. Should produce triangle-shaped bubbles. How many think it will make a triangle? Raise your hand. It did. How many think it'll be a triangle one more time? How many think it will not be a triangle? Wow, that sure is a lot of hands. A lot of big kid hands, too. Now, boys and girls, if it's not going to be a triangle, I need some brave person out there to raise their hand and tell me what shape it will be. How about this young man? What shape will it be? You forgot? What do you think?
A sphere.
A sphere. Oh my gosh, stole my thunder right off the bat. How many think it'll be a sphere? Raise your hand. How do we find out what shape it'll be? We do it. Now wait a minute, that sounds familiar. You observe, that's why I threw bubbles out on you. You predict, we got two predictions, bubbles will be triangles or they'll be spheres. And the next step you want me to do is try it. That sounds like an experiment. Wait a minute, it sounds like science. How in the world did we get into doing science? You guys came to see a bubble show. And here we're going to prove something. She says it's going to be a sphere, and the rest of you, a couple of you, said it's going to be a triangle. So what do? Do it! A perfect triangle-shaped bubble. It's what? Wait a minute. Can't be a circle. There you go. Because circles are flat. That's right. So it can't be a circle. It has to be, as she said, a sphere. Now wait a minute. If this is a sphere and this is a circle, I could put the circle around the sphere and make it look like a planet. What planet? Saturn. Or it could be another one with dusty rings around it, the biggest planet in the solar system. Jupiter has little dusty rings around it. Then there's one that rolls around the sun. I guess by now you boys and girls have figured out that bubbles don't last forever, do they? No, Earth doesn't have rings. Has a moon, but no rings. There's one that rolls around like this, begins with the letter U. Uranus, that's right. And then there's the last planet in the solar system. Neptune. Pluto's not a planet anymore, boys and girls. It's what they call a planetoid. You know why it's a planetoid? Because the man who discovered it was born in Kansas. And all the other planets were discovered by Europeans. So the moment that Clyde Tombaugh passed, they took it away from him and said, well, it's no longer a planet. Sorry, Clyde.
Which one?
It's now a planetoid. It even has its own moon. Look at Mercury. It doesn't have a moon. Neither does Venus. But they're still planets. It's them Europeans. And the Russians. And the South Africans. They're the ones who voted to take it away. Okay. Now,